Today I'll be making bossam in simple steps so that you can follow along. We will start by cutting our cabbage into halves or quarters, depending on the size. Pull the halves or quarters apart after making a slit on the bottom. I'm using roughly 2 kilograms of cabbage for my wrap. Next, we'll dry brine by adding a total of 140 grams of coarse pickling salt between each of the leaves. Fill up a bowl with around 100 grams of the coarse salt and fill it with roughly 800 milliliters of water. Stir the salt around to dissolve some of it and then pour the salt water over the cabbage. Let the cabbage brine between 4 to 8 hours. Then rinse each leaf off with cold water. While the cabbage is brining, grab your ingredients for the boiled pork. Most of these ingredients add a subtle flavor to the pork. You can add more coffee or doenjang, which is the fermented bean paste, if you want a stronger flavor. I would also recommend adding around 8 bay leaves. Cut your meat into 3-inch thick pieces and then fill our pot with around 7 cups of water, just enough water to submerge the pork. Make sure that the water does not splash when you're filling your pot to prevent the spread of bacteria. Then place the pot on your stove and bring to a boil. As you're waiting for the water to boil, add in your sake or mirin, and these are optional ingredients. Then add in your garlic cloves, ginger, onion, green onions, doenjang, and coffee, and then stir everything. Leave the pork in the boiling water for roughly an hour. While the pork is cooking, let's make our daikon side dish, which we'll eat together with the pork. This dish is called mu채나물. I forgot to add ginger in this frame, but I used 10 grams of peeled ginger. This side dish might look familiar because it's basically what we made for our kimchi. Much like last time, we'll start by cutting our onion and then dicing. Make cuts parallel to your cutting board, then lengthwise cuts perpendicular to the cutting board. And lastly, finish the dice by slicing down parallel to the cuts you just made. Cut off the ends of the garlic to get rid of the hard texture, and then slice your daikon into discs that are about 1 centimeter thick. Lay them down and make matchsticks out of your daikon. This process will take less time if you have a mandolin. Cut your green onion into 3-inch pieces, and then blitz your onion in your food processor, your garlic, and blitz your peeled ginger. In a large bowl or tub, add in your daikon, then your green onions, your blitzed onion, garlic, and ginger. Add some 새우젓, which is the salted shrimp. Then add in your gochugaru. Make sure you mix everything together and then taste to see if you require salt. Once you've made this side dish, it will be placed in the fridge right away. Do not leave it at room temperature to ferment. And now that your pork has finished boiling, take the pork out and rinse it in cold water. Then slice the pork into small, bite-sized pieces. I like to wrap my pork in the brined cabbage with the muche. If you don't have the time to brine the cabbage or to make the side dish, you can always wrap your pork in lettuce and perilla leaves. Add in some raw garlic and chili peppers and maybe some salted shrimp or samjang, and it will also taste really good. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks.